And we're talking about Ultraman Rising on Netflix. It's been out for about a week now. We've heard about it at Kaiju Brooklyn because they had an early viewing. The people that were in the panel.
Yes. They were raving about it. They're like, "Oh, this is gonna be huge, guys. Make sure when it comes out, you just keep that thing playing over and over, so that Netflix decides to sign on for a sequel." A lot of love went into this. I mean, you have Shannon Tyndall, Christopher Shannon Tyndall was the writer director, and the co-director was John Aoshima. This concept has been something that Tyndall's been working on for years. I believe it was originally, before it became Ultraman, was originally going to be called like Big in Japan, or like Growing Up in Japan, or something like that. It was just a story that he's been working on for years, and it slowly developed into this Ultraman story. And it, like we said earlier, EJ said it's jam packed with intentional Easter eggs, tons of stuff. The director's just, Tyndall. They've done a couple of series. The Bunny Toy, Ollie, Lost Ollie was a miniseries that they've also wrote for Netflix. Kubo and the Two Strings. Tyndall's done art and animation for Powerpuff Girls, Samurai Jack, Curious George, Fairly Odd Parents, Static Shock, Boss Baby, even SpongeBob, Megamind. And then the co-director, Johnny Yoshima, he did Gravity Falls, American Dad, Simpsons, Schoolhouse Rock, Avatar, Futurama, so many shows. I actually saw something online where he did sneak into... was it Foster's Home? Tyndall actually snuck in some kaiju references as well back in the day, before they even did. He did Ultraman Rising, so the directors definitely have some love for this. And then we have Christopher Sean as Ken Sato, our main character, who is a baseball player. And
I think he did a really good job with the voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, the whole cast, the art, animation, everything was just it was so well done. It's a very rewatchable, super accessible to... You don't need to have seen Ultraman to enjoy this.
Yeah, no, you don't need to see Ultraman at all to watch this.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you're an Ultraman fan, you're really gonna enjoy this, because you lots of Easter eggs, references.
Yeah.
Ken Sato is Professor Hayao Sato's son, and Emiko Sato's son. You find out that his dad was the original Ultraman, and during a fight with Gigantron, who is the big bird dragon type kaiju that we've seen all over those figures, there was a lot of damage done to the city. Ken and his mother were almost hurt, so his mother decided to separate from the father and move to the U.S., where there's less kaiju attacks, and the dad could kind of work with the kaiju defense force that she helped find, with him and Professor Onda, whose family unfortunately didn't have him as Ultraman to protect them, and unfortunately he lost them. That's where he becomes the villain, played by Keon Young, who we hopefully get to meet this summer at Terrificon. And then we also have Emi Wakita, who's the reporter, played by Julia Harriman. And Emiko's voice actress also played Mina, the little AI android thing that Ken had as like his assistant. It's almost like his Alexa, but way smarter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be modeled after his mother.
Yes.
So like that's why they vote. Both voices are from the same. Same voice actress. So we start off with the series. It opens up and you kind of get a look at Ken Sato, and he's kind of like very brash, full of himself. He's at a press conference.
Yeah.
He used to play for the LA Dodgers. Now he's back in Japan. He signed with the Giants. And they don't, he won't say why, because everyone keeps asking him, like, why would you, he keeps saying he's the best baseball player on the planet and, all this stuff. And everyone's like,
Yeah.
well, why would you come back to Japan then?
Yeah, like the Dodgers were like on the verge of like going to the World Series, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." Like,
Yeah. So, slowly, like, he gets asked the question, like, does it have anything to do with your mother? And he's, kind of dodges the question, and
yeah, they're like he's a pro at dodging questions.
yeah.
And
So
he leaves the interview, and sure enough, there's a kaiju. Well, he leaves the interview because there's a kaiju attack. His little watch goes off, and he comes out, and Naranga's out there fighting the KDF. He goes in, and he's just getting beat.
mauled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of his, I believe, we're assuming it's his first outing as Ultraman. And he kind of gets a good blow in, and it's kind of like showboating, and that's when Amy's mother is like, "Hey, stop showboating and win the fight." And he's like, "I'm doing my best. What do you mean?" And Naranga blasts him, and his timer goes off, and he returns to human form. And he's like, "All right, you know what? We're just gonna let the KDF deal with it. I'm out for the night. I'm punching out." And he just rides his motorcycle home, and you kind of see the KDF fighting Naranga in the background. And apparently their way of handling kaiju is to exterminate them versus kind of just defeating them and subduing. And that's
So,
not the way Ken's father wants it done. So that's kind of, he's getting cold. His phone's blowing up. Ken's father and mother, they were like very about kind of conserving, like conservationists. They want to protect the kaiju, learn from them. And now the KDF, which they both helped found, is all about exterminating them because Dr. Onda is at the head of it now. And he lost his wife and daughter to Gigantron. And now he's just like, listen, you can't have them in the world. And one of the main things that's brought up is this Kaiju Island. It's kind of like the whole, we gotta go to Kaiju Island, that's where all the kaiju come from. And that's kind of the goal of Dr. Onda, is to find Kaiju Island and just kill them all.
Yeah. So, it cuts back to Ken. He's back at his house. Like, the AI is trying to get him to do like a lot more healthier things and stop like drinking and taking care of himself and all that stuff. And he's kind of like not on board with it. Goes to play his first baseball game, and like he's like giving like the rookies like a signed card of himself, and he's like kind of like so full of himself.
And he had hurt his shoulder too in the fight too.
Yeah. So he goes up to bat. First two strikes, he switches up, goes the other side, hits a grand slam. So he's doing great. And then it cuts in with a shot of like this, kind of looks like a buoy, but getting picked up by the KDF, and they start flying away. And then you notice
they were bringing it somewhere else, but for some reason they decided to bring it through a city. I don't know. The They didn't. No, they did. And they carry it through the city, and as they approach the stadium, the helicopters get blasted out of the sky by Gigantron, and Ken sees Gigantron over the stadium now. Sky, and he's like, this is not only does Dr. Onda have a bone to pick with it, Ken kind of has a bone to pick with it, because this kaiju is the kaiju that broke his family up and sent him to America. And he runs out of the stadium, lands this massive punch that you think is just like a finisher punch, and it knocks Gigantron over, but it was not enough. And he's like, oh crap. And he gets his butt handed to him in this fight. And the KDF kind of shoots Gigantron out of the sky. And he picks up this ball that they were transporting. And it turns out it's a baby. And that's when Minion's like, yeah, we got to get out of here because the KDF's going to kill this thing. And he's like, oh no. So he goes underwater, and it turns out he's got like a secret underwater entrance into his house. It's almost like a bat cave.
Yeah, basically his house is like Tony Stark's house.
It's on like a cliff, yeah.
Like it's on the cliff. It's got like an underwater thing attached to it that's got like this big like AR arena inside of it, and it's got his car collection and all this stuff.
Yeah. And that's when we revealed it's, Emmy is our main baby kaiju that everyone's seen everywhere now in the artwork. It's a baby Gigantron.
Yeah, it's baby Gigantron. It's really like they did like a really good job designing it.
Yes.
Like I gotta say, like the design of it is really good. And the facial motions and the animations are very, I feel like, realistic for a toddler.
Yes.
Definitely liked it. And of course he's just like, oh, what are we doing with this thing? Like he puts it inside the containment field. It's starting to freak out because it doesn't realize that he is Ultraman and he's turned back to his human form.
And it thinks, because now it thinks Ultraman is its mother, father.
Yeah, it imprinted. So, like he's upstairs, he's trying to sleep, trying to tune out like this like baby kaiju from crying, and he's just like, he goes back downstairs. He finally gets to learn that like this is my human form, and this is my Ultraman form, and then he has to go out and like fish for it because it's hungry at the time. So he gets the fish, it eats it, makes a mess in its cage. Well, I'm going to call it more, it's a containment field, but it's really more of a crib that they use it as. And I thought like one of the funny details was it goes to sleep after this, and it uses like one of the cars it destroys as like a teddy bear.
Yes. Yeah. And, it's basically like your normal toddler. It's got its toys, it's got its annoying videos that it likes to watch, its songs. It does the Godzilla dance.
Yeah, it does the Godzilla dance, and he's like not super duper impressed or like anything like that. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go off to my first game. I haven't really slept at all.
And so at this point, he's really hurt too.
He's like super messed up. Completely bombs at the game, and I forget what happens while he's gone. But basically, like,
he goes for another interview with Amy, and Amy gets loose. Starts to run rampant around the city, not really causing a ton.
No.
Oh no.
Like this giant, like 2-month, like it basically like the AI talks to him was like, hey, like Gigantron's not coming back. This thing needs to get raised.
Yeah.
We are the only people that can do it. So like you have to step up. So you get like this big like montage of just like him messing up, being super tired, not getting sleep, basically parenting this kaiju.
Yeah.
This is very, very relatable. If anyone has had small kids, like it's very like you're like, yep, that's the way it is. 2 months in, he basically has like a complete mental breakdown. I think it's like 75 days and has a complete mental breakdown. Calls up Amy on the phone. And he's like, how do you balance everything? Because she's a single parent. He's like, how do you balance it? Like, what do you do? Like, he's like not telling her that, he's trying to parent now. But like, she's just like, you just have to enjoy the time that you have with them. And, you just got to, take it as it is. It's not going to change. So you have to kind of, learn to live with it. And it kind of changes his perspective of being a parent. And this is when he goes out for that second he's like, okay, he's like,
I
I'll
owe
give
you
you
an
another
interview.
interview.
Yeah.
So he's out on this interview, and she's like, she's trying to get more information out of him. You get a little bit more backstory about his mom.
Yeah.
But he cuts himself off again. But like, basically, she's not dead. She's missing. And he's saying that he doesn't really get along with his dad very well, which we saw in previous scenes. Like he's like yelling at his dad and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he's kind of holding a grudge. Oh, my dad was too busy being Ultraman and not a father, and he's over in Japan. I'm in America.
Yeah.
So it's a whole lot of I don't like my dad.
Yeah, he's kind of bringing up a lot of the issues that he's had with his father. So during all this, like, which happens with when you have a toddler, you always have something in your house that you're just like, I don't feel like fixing that right now.
Yeah.
We'll just hope that they don't notice, right? And of course, it's the first thing that they notice. So she's acting up. She doesn't want to play her games anymore. She doesn't want to be in the crib. So they take her out, and then she notices the elevator.
Yes.
To go up to the main floor.
And yeah, she squeezes into this elevator and somehow makes it upstairs, bursts out the front door. Oh, it's because she has the acid reflux too.
Yes,
and
she's burned through. So the acid reflux is her getting her like laser attack power.
Yeah.
Breath thing that Gigantron also has.
And yeah, so she bursts out, starts roaming around the city, not really causing any destruction, but everyone's like, oh, there's
well, she's trying to get to Ken because there's a giant...
Yes, the blimp.
Ken Sato blimp, where at the beginning of the movie he hated this coconut water, and now he has an endorsement deal for the coconut water, and he actually likes it now.
Yeah.
It's all because at the beginning you saw him drinking beer all the time.
Yeah, or soda.
With his face on it.
Yeah.
With like his own face on it. And now it's like he's super into this coconut water. So she's following him around in the blimp, and then like he's like plastered all over the city because he's like supposed to be this famous baseball player, even though he's not very good right now. And
that's when his watch goes off, and he's like, "Oh man, I got to get the hell out of this interview." And she's like, "Oh, you're cutting me short again." He manages to find Emmy, and then the KDF also catches on. And they're chasing him to Tokyo Tower. Emmy climbs up Tokyo Tower. And that's when they shoot Emmy with some sedation darts. And he goes and knocks a few helicopters out of the sky, escapes with Emmy, returns home, and calls his dad because Emmy looks like she's in trouble. And the dad's like, oh, it's like a sedation formula, so we got to make more of it just to knock her out. And she also has a fractured arm. They pop the arm back in place, and then the dad sort of becomes like a grandfather to Emmy and begins helping her and Ken, and they start to grow a better relationship, and he takes her to their old vacation spot where he used to be with the mom, and everything's going great. But that's when the KDF sends out all their drones just searching for Emmy, because Dr. Onda knows that Emmy has this sonar and is going to eventually want to go home. So he's like, listen, Emmy's going to want to go home, and that home is Kaiju Island. So they want Emmy to get to Kaiju Island to destroy all the Kaiju. So they just see Emmy on the beach, and Ken's there, the dad's there, and Onda does not care. He's like, whatever.
I do want to note at this point, like, they've kind of repaired their relationship. They go to this vacation home, and Ken realizes, like, he has like tapes of like every single one of his childhood games. Like he's watched everything.
He's got all his
trophies. While Ken thought that he was like this absentee father, he kind of realizes like, hey, he sent me away to protect me, and he wanted to always be there, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
So that kind of like repairs their relationship a lot, because up until that point he was like, we're just in this to like take care of Emmy. Like, we're still not.
And he also sees that he was looking for his mom. One of the things was like, oh, you didn't even look for mom when she went missing. Like, he's like, no, I did. And like when they get to that vacation house, he sees this whole map where he was trying to plot out where the mom could be, but he couldn't find her. So they begin just shelling the beach that they're on at this vacation house, the KDF, and
Yeah, he doesn't. They don't even care if there's people on the beach.
yeah. Ken's dad gets caught in the blast. Ultraman takes out the drones, and he quickly gets him into the jet and flies back home to his house. Puts his dad in almost like a stasis tank, and that's when Emmy also, at the time, right when this attack happens, went into a cocoon form. So Emmy is in a cocoon. His dad is in a stasis tank. So he had to move Emmy onto the plane as Ultraman, get her home, and that's when she hatches. And then all of a sudden, we probably should have brought this up earlier. When we saw Dr. Under in his base at the KDF, he walks through almost like a kaiju graveyard. We see all these dead kaiju behind glass. Gamora, Twin Tails, Ella King. I don't know who else was there. There was a couple. And then we see Gigantron, and there's a heartbeat. At this point, they deploy, now that they know Emmy's out there, they deploy Gigantron, but in what we assume a mechanized version, and it's sending out a call. The cocoon that Emmy is in is hatches, and we hear Mothra screech from that hatch when she comes out. And she hears this call, and she's like, "Oh, that's my mother." So she goes to answer the call. Cool shot of Gigantron like in front of the sun, so you can't really see Gigantron. She flies out, and when the screech replies, that's when the KDF bombs Ken's house with his dad in it. Mina's in it, and Emmy had flown out at the time. Luckily, Ken gets caught in the blast, wakes up. The stasis tank that the father was in is missing, and Mina is about to die and says that she knows that he was meant to be Ultraman and not just a baseball player, and that this is what he's got to do. And it's like his mother's voice is telling him this, and his mother always wanted him to be a baseball player that we see from the flashbacks, and he's like, "Oh, this is almost like my mom telling me, all right, this is what you really should be doing." Because at the beginning of the movie, he gets presented by his father, "Oh, do you want to be the best baseball player, or do you want to be Ultraman?" Currently, he's the best baseball player and Ultraman. So he transforms into Ultraman. He thinks his dad's dead. He just lost Mina. He basically lost his mother again, and now he's about to lose Emmy. He flies out, meets a Robo Gigantron. They begin fighting. He punches it and realizes that the real one is underneath that thing, and they continue fighting. Dr. Unda's like, "Listen, if this goes south, everybody in the KDF needs to make sure that the KDF survives." So he has everybody evacuate this destroyer base, and sure enough, Ken frees Gigantron, and they turn their focus on the space. That's when Onda turns the base into this giant mech, the destroyer, and begins fighting, and it's not looking good for Ken. He's about to get a finisher put on him. That's when his father comes. Hayano shows up as Ultra. I forgot what they dubbed him as. They called him.
I don't know if it's just like the original Ultraman or
they called
like,
well now he's called like Ultra Dad or something like that.
Yeah, it's like it kind of looks like a Super Mario Ultraman.
Yes,
if I had to guess, like he's like a little bit shorter, a little bit more stout looking,
and he's got a mustache.
Yeah, and he has his mustache.
This isn't what he looks like, but
no, it's not what he looks like. But like, if you were to like kind of think of like what you would think a Super Mario Ultraman would look like,
that's
kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like a little
yeah.
like froggy, I guess.
Yeah, they dubbed him Ultra Dad. Yes, I just looked. They dubbed him Ultra Dad. He's now Ultra Dad. He's no longer just Ken's Ultraman now, and he's Ultra Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he joins the fight. So now it's just 4 against 1, but this destroyer bot that Dr. Onda is piloting is really just handed it to him. He's got this crazy sword. It's got these arms. Emmy's got wings now too, by the way. That's why she was able to fly out to Gigantron. And they all do like this crazy like blast. They do like a combined Specium beam, and then Gigantron and Emmy both do their beams.
Which I really like because the whole he only tries the Specium Ray once prior to this, but fails.
Yeah.
And he can never seem to actually do it properly. So, he kind of needed. It's like, he needed his family
to get it done.
To do it. Like, he had to become whole to be able to do it.
And part of it was, too, like, he needed to learn to control his focus. That's one of the things that the father says. My warning beam used to go off all the time. But when I learned I need to find a way to focus, that's when I stopped having it go off as much. When I was like, I'm fighting for my family. I have a reason. I have focus. So he's got his focus now. They hit him with the beam, and it looks like the destroyer is done. But then they hear a signal, and this thing is about to blow. And it's gonna just not only destroy the self-destruct and destroy itself and the kaiju, it's going to destroy the city. So that's when Ken's like, I'm not letting my family die this time. So he dives on top and kind of shields the blast and contains it, and he saves the day. He gets blasted, and they pull him out of the water, and he survived. The city survived. He saved the city, and the city stood by watching him take the blast for them, willing to die. And it's a happy ending. Ken's team wins their championship. He's injured, but he becomes a good role model and leader. He gets a smile out of his coach that did not like him. And we see them on the boat and being led to Kaiju Island, which hopefully we get to see maybe in the next movie. Emmy's returning home. Gigantron's returning home to live happy. What's Dr. Hayano? He's got his dream. Hayo Sato, what's he going to do? He's got his dream location of study now discovered. That was one of the topics. Where is this Kaiju Island? They finally found it. So, they're going to be building a research facility there. And credits roll. And then we get our mid-credit scene. And it's Emiko, Ken's mother, leaving a message on his watch saying, I'm still alive, I'm out here, please come get me. And it says her location is Nebula M78, which Ultraman fans know, if you've seen any Ultraman before, that is the land of light, the home planet to all the Ultras. So she's out there in space, so hopefully we get some follow-up on this. It's been put out by Christopher Sean, the star of the movie, and even Shannon Tyndall, he's been saying himself too, this movie needs to do good on Netflix for us to get more. They have ideas for a sequel, clearly. This is like the week. I mean, by the time this review comes out, the week's going to be over, but still push on, keep watching this movie over and over if you love it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. The end of the month will be when Netflix takes all this stuff, tallies it up, and decides whether or not they're going to move forward with a sequel or not. I don't know how long it takes them to go through that. I really hope we hear some good news by the end of July, hopefully. You never know. Netflix takes a while. I mean, I loved Singular Point. A lot of people loved Singular Point. Had a cliffhanger at the end, somewhat. Left it open for a sequel. It's been years. Haven't heard a sequel. The Kong Skull Island anime series definitely was open for a second season, and they even have it written. Netflix still hasn't greenlit it. Gamma Rebirth, great anime. Left pretty much open for a sequel. Definitely open for a sequel. No second season.
So they have to see. I mean, I don't know if, Super Riot could always produce something like this. It seems like it's a quite expensive movie to make.
It is top tier animation. I mean, the animation is gorgeous, especially the night scene when Emmy first hatches, the Narunga fight.
Really good,
Every scene is just like some great shots, and even the shot with Gigantron over the city. I just saw another picture of it today. I feel like I've seen it a million times, but when you really stop, like a frame and to like look at it, like they put a lot of work into this animation and the art in this movie. Like it's not just like there. It's not a simple animation. Like it's very
Yeah.
detailed. Very
Yeah,
good
and the amount
looking.
of references that they crammed in that they didn't have to, like
Yeah.
Emmy doing the Godzilla victory dance, and when Gigantron shows up at Ken's blown up house, it's a reference to Evangelion with like the sun behind them.
Yeah.
And, like the kids' TV show has got like all like the Ultra Kaiju's in it, and
Yeah. I mean, you see Bemular at the beginning. Yeah, there's just
yeah,
like
there's a lot of Bemular. He has a lot of action figures behind him.
Ken's
I think there was
motorcycle
like a
jacket.
Megazord behind him.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Like on his
the
couch.
Ryu Soldier one, which is is that Dino Fury? I think is it Dino Fury? I don't know. It's one of the Megazords. It is a Megazord that is behind him. It, yeah, there's a Megazord.
Not to mention all the sound effects.
The
and
sound
stuff that were-
effects, the dances. His shoes had one of the Defense Force logos on it. I believe his jacket was. I think his jacket was the Ultra 7 Defense Force. Like, he had his number was
his father's
7.
glasses were the Dan Moriboshi
Yes.
Ultra 7 glasses.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like the red frame, like definitely a reference
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. There's.
Trying to think of like the other, like I know there was a bunch. Oh man, I just had one that I was like, they put so many in there. I'm surprised we didn't get like the Showa Geigen and like Science Patrol telephone.
Oh yeah.
Ringtone.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, the ringtone was Ghidorah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, Ghidorah. I said Geigen by accident. Yeah, Ghidorah.
Yeah, I've been trying to find like if there's like a list out there of like the Easter eggs. There's nothing out there yet. Nobody's compiled anything into like one single long list, but there's a lot in there. Definitely even like the father's car. I was like trying to figure out the car. It reminded me of one of the Defense Force cars too, but it's crammed. The jet that he uses is very similar to the Ultraman jets from the Science Patrol. No, it's not the Science Patrol jet, actually. I think that was more like the Ultra 7 jet. There's been so many Defense Force vehicles throughout the years, but lots of Showa references.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you're into this movie and you want to get into the classics, I always recommend going back to the Showa. I'm still chugging through it. I'm at Taro now, so I think I only have one more series after that. Yeah, right?
Leo.
Yeah, Leo. Yeah. Leo and... Yeah, just Leo. Then I'm going to be done with the Showa era.
Yeah. Well, then you also have 80.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to count 80.
Yeah.
It's not part of like the Ultra Brothers though.
Yeah. I'll be done with the Showa era.
Yeah.
And then I want to watch the movie too, the 7...
Superior.
Yeah, Superior 8, yeah. To finish that off. But absolutely fantastic movie. I honestly think it should be up for some awards too. This is some damn good animation. Great story. How to Train Your Dragonish vibes. I feel like if you're not a kaiju fan, which you should be if you're watching us, I think if you liked How to Train Your Dragon, you would like this because it had very similar feels to it too. Just a really good feel-good family movie. This is great for anybody all ages. So share it. If you're gonna share a piece of kaiju media, this is the one to share with somebody that's new, especially the little ones.
Definitely, I 100% agree. I guess that wraps it up. Thanks. Yeah, is there anything else?
Well, we'll be back with another show soon. Like I said, we're gonna probably. I'm not sure if it's gonna be for the next one, but we're gonna wrap up the Ultraman Blazar reviews, and I don't know if we'll do a movie with that. We might just do that because it's a lot of Ultraman, but I don't know if we'll go crazy detail We'll probably have issue 3 of this by the time we record that, so we'll probably
definitely.
be reviewing that for the next episode as well. I don't know if we're going to do a summer show or not. I think we're going to try to at least get the Meg 2 in here. I don't know if that's going to be our next movie.
I think that's going to be probably like our summer.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to go as crazy this summer. We got a couple of vacations and trips planned, so we'll see what we could squeeze in for the summer vibe. We knocked out a couple of summer movies the last couple of years, so I don't know if we really have a lot of summer ones left to watch, honestly. I think the Meg 2 would be the only one left on our list. I mean, we covered a lot of the tropically ones.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, there's always Jaws.
Yeah, there is always Jaws, but it's just, like, it's Jaws. It's good. Do you really need somebody to review that? I mean,
not really.
It's a classic. It's the best shark movie. There'll never be a better one. And they better not ever remake it.
Yeah, but hope not. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe if you can, and we will see you guys for the next one.
Yes, absolutely. Bye.